For those of you who are not there, hold on, let me get, I want to share it again. This shows you all of the subgroups, or not all of them, subgroups of chronic absence based on October. The furthest blue column is our October data. And you'll see that we have gone down in chronic absence, which is great. And almost every subgroup is set for students without high needs. So they've gone up just a titch, 1 percentage point. But we're excited to say that we're seeing improvements since comparing to last June, which is in orange. The first 2 columns are 2019-20 and 2020-20 and 2021. And then we have orange is last June and the blue is this October. So we're excited to say we're seeing chronic absence go in the right direction since last October. And we're hoping to have the November data out maybe definitely by the next Talk Tuesday, because our next Talk Tuesday isn't until in January. So we'll take a look at the November data then and see where we're going. So we're holding strong, we're working hard. We have our triple respiratory threat right now, but everyone's working very hard to encourage kids to come to school and remove those barriers and support our students and families. Next slide, please. This slide will show you how to get to these monthly data reports on EdSite. When you get to the supporting student participation page, you can download the Excel spreadsheets where this yellow arrow is. There are spreadsheets there that will show you lots of data. If you go to the next slide, I'll show you when you download the spreadsheet, this is what it will look like. It's not pretty, but if you are a data geek like I am, you would get excited about this. But if you're not, as I've said before, it's important to have someone on your school and district attendance teams who can manipulate this data, sort and filter so that you just see what you like. But one of the most important things, this is the chronic absence spreadsheet, is along the bottom, you can look at your chronic absence rates for your district by grade, by high needs, crosstabs, by free and reduced lunch, by English learners, by special ed, by primary disability for your students with special ed, by race, gender, and by homeless. So your school and district attendance teams can be looking at these data reports and understanding where you really need to be putting your efforts to support students, what grades have the highest chronic absence rate? Which groups of students are we concerned about? Which groups of students by primary disability have the highest levels of chronic absence? And how can we support those students? Next slide, please. And I also just want to cover, just sort of switch back to something that Christine covered earlier, is the accountability results for 2020, 2021 have been released this past week. There's a press release that you can link to on this slide. And then you can also go to your own district's results by going to this QR code, and you can find your district's accountability report. So these results confirm the broader impact of the pandemic on other student outcomes, not just academic. Some of the results include chronic absenteeism was more than twice than the pre-pandemic levels. We know that the percentage of 9th graders on track to graduate high school in 4 years declined by more than 5 percentage points after the pandemic. The percentage of students enrolling in college within 1 year after high school graduation has declined significantly for students who graduated high school during the pandemic years of 2020 and 2021. And this is especially true for those from low-income families. So we have some work to do. If you go to the next slide, I can show you what a report card looks like. And these are the 12 indicators on the accountability reports. Some of this should sound familiar because we were doing this for a number of years before the pandemic. It went a little bit on hiatus for a year or two, but indicator 4, where this blue arrow is chronic absenteeism. And so you will get a grade for chronic absenteeism for all students and also for your group of students who are high needs. And so when you look at your own report cards, you'll see that score for your district. And so for our, these show the rates for all students in Connecticut. We went from 9.9 10.7, 10.4 in 2018-19, the year before the pandemic, to 23.7 in 21-22. And our high needs students are even that much higher. So you also have on here your ELA performance, math, science, ELA, let me see, English proficiency, post-secondary preparation, on track to high school graduation, and then graduation rates, post-secondary entrance, physical fitness, and access to arts. And so are there any questions about that? Okay, these were sent out to superintendents, and there was some media coverage on it last week. So I encourage you to take a look at your district to see where there are areas where you're seeing improvements and where there's you need some growth. So with that, I think that's the end of my presentation. Christine, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Kari. And right now I'm going to actually turn it over to our presenters. And we have Dr. Liz Radday, Matt Mervis, and Kelly Brooks. So Liz, you could share whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Alrighty. You all see my screen?
We can, yes.
All right. So I am super excited to be here because personal interest projects are absolutely the thing I love most about my job. Personal interest projects and Capstone are a huge passion of mine. And I'm really excited to talk about them with Kelly Brooks, who is one of the teachers that is doing PIPs with her students. And then Matt Mervis is the director of Skills 21, and he will also be showing the software that we use on our Launchpad platform. So just to start, like I said, I'm Dr. Liz Radday. I have been at EdAdvance for, this is my 7th year. I'm the director of school services, and I also work with Skills 21. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi folks, I'm Matt Mervis. Just really delighted to have the opportunity to share this work and to have Kelly with us, who is just a fantastic teacher and has really pioneered, kind of using some of these tools with specific populations. So thanks.
And Kelly, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me, Liz and Matt, to join you, and welcome to everybody. My name is Kelly Brooks. I am an English teacher at Montville High School, and I have been here for 22 years. I too am very, very passionate about the PIP program, and I'm very excited for what it's brought to our students here in Montville. So I'm excited to share with you some of our ideas and give you a sense of how it might work in your own schools.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. So just quickly today, we've already finished bullet 1. We've welcomed and introed. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Skills 21 and what PIPs are, and that the PIP model. Kelly is going to talk a little bit with me about PIP for credit recovery and the way Montville used it and how they re-engaged some of their most disengaged students. There's going to be a little video in here so you can hear students talk about their projects. And then what I don't have on here is that Matt is going to show you the platform, and then we'll have some time for questions. So if you don't know Skills 21, we are at EdAdvance, which is one of the 6 regional education service centers. We're the one way up in the northwest corner, where we have snow and lots of beautiful things. Within every rest, there's lots of different departments, and the Skills 21 department is just over 2 decades old, and their work has been on challenge-based learning, hands-on learning experiences for much of their history. And we have been doing work in Capstone for over a decade. And we started PIP in 2020. And Skills 21 has had a variety of grants from National Science Foundation, Department of Education. So we've done a lot of research on what we've done, but we've also just been working in schools for 2 decades. So let's talk about what happened with PIP. So prior to 2020, Skills 21 had this great academy model where we were working with schools, and students worked on team-based challenge projects for freshman, sophomore, and junior year. They came to this huge expo. We had it at the Wallingford Oakdale Theater, 1,500 students together pitching their products, showing off what they were doing. It was like a science fair, tech fair on steroids. It was so exciting, really, really awesome. It ended their senior year. Students did independent projects where they were looking to solve problems. And March of 2020 came, and we were, in March going, this looks like it's going to be a real thing. We weren't even thinking about Expo Fest yet. At this point, we were going, all right, it looks like students are going to be home for 2 or 3 weeks. And all these adults on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these places were saying, oh, I'm going to be home for 2 weeks, like time to clean out the closet, time to finish the baby blanket I started for my son who's now going off to college, time to start the garden or learn something new. And everyone was really excited to all of a sudden have this time to learn something new. We were like, well, if adults are doing it, kids should be doing it too. And we've already got this capstone program where kids are doing these independent projects. Can we make a curriculum for students to learn, solve, make, or do something while they are now in isolation? And so very quickly, we wrote a capstone or a PIP curriculum where kids could go through 3 phases. There's 4 tasks in each phase and do the project. Now, because this was at the beginning of the pandemic, there were other things that we really wanted to make sure were part of this project. One of those was videos to explain each task to the students, because we knew at that point, we weren't sure if teachers were going to be able to talk to students or do, any synchronous learning. Remember, these words were like new, asynchronous and synchronous learning. So we wanted to make sure that kids could complete these projects asynchronously. And we also wanted to make sure that we built in ways for students to collaborate, even though they could not physically be together. So through the use of Zoom and making videos and emailing each other, we wanted to make sure there was a lot of collaboration built in. So in general, what is a PIP project? So a PIP is, at its core, a project that is student designed and student driven. It's often or always tied to students' passions, interests, or career goals. Remember, we know that not all students have a passion when they're in high school or earlier, but they do have interests, or they might have some career goals. To make a strong personal interest project, kids need to be experiencing a learning stretch. So we want to make sure that they're not doing something for their PIP project that they already can accomplish. So if they're already a really great piano player and they play classical piano music, we don't want the goal to be that they're going to learn another classical piece. We would like the goal to be that maybe they're going to learn how to do some improv and learn jazz. If they're already a great knitter, we don't want them to knit a bunch of baby hats if that's something they could already do. We would like them to learn how to crochet or design their own knitting projects. So that learning stretch is really important. Otherwise, they get really bored. If it's something they could already do, they're not as engaged. Usually PIP projects, at the end, we encourage an exhibition with an authentic audience. That exhibition does not need to be live. It can be virtual. The end of the 2020 story was that Expo, obviously, we did not bring 1,500 kids together in June of 2020, but we ended with a virtual Expo and actually did that the following year as well, where kids were still interacting via Zoom with authentic audiences. When we built PIP, we wanted to make sure that those vision of a graduate skills are in there. And I know every school's vision of a graduate is slightly different and there's different flavors, but those high leverage 21st century skills like creativity, communication, critical thinking, and problem solving, they're all demonstrated through a personal interest project. These projects are over an extended period of time. Extended period of time is flexible. It could mean 4 weeks, it could mean 4 months, it could mean a year, but it's not kind of a 1 week short thing you do in class. It really takes longer. We built a lot of self-reflection into the process. And like I said, it requires collaboration. We've seen it being used in so many different places. And that's one of the things that's really exciting about PIP is that it's not only for one group of kids. So we've seen it as for kids as young as 5th grade and as old as seniors in high school. We've seen it for where schools are doing it for a semester or a trimester course. We've also seen schools use it for a full year course. I will say a full year course is really long. Kelly, I think, will address that. We've seen it integrated into part of an academic course. So if you have students doing biology, taking, say, freshman or sophomore year biology, they could do a PIP project and you can put some parameters around it that the project has to be about science, right? The more freedom, the more engaged they will be, but you can put some, guardrails up to make sure that it is still helping them learn for something for a particular course. We've seen it used in gifted and talented. The really cool ways we've seen it. So those are pretty traditional, right? Like academic ways. We're going to talk about Montville and how they used it for credit recovery for some students that were really not engaged in school during that 2020-21 school year where kids were hybrid, had the option to stay fully remote. So they were able to do some credit recovery. We also actually used it in a middle school for summer school. So those kids were also, while it may not have been called credit recovery, it was what they did in summer school instead of packets of work where they just every day had to, complete a task. They were doing these projects over the course of 5 weeks in the summer. It was really cool to see kids doing that instead of just sitting in desks doing packets. And we also had a pilot project last summer with the juvenile justice system in Massachusetts with some students that were in some residential treatment or residential centers, justice centers. I'm going to stop for 1 second and see, are there any questions? Does anyone want to unmute or ask anything? Or Matt, did you want to jump in? Say anything? I'm doing well. All right, I'm going to keep going. So a PIP project in general is broken into 3 phases: discover, create, and share. And these very closely model the same phases that we use in a capstone project. In the first phase, students are discovering what they're going to do. That very first activity, personal discovery, is where kids, it's my favorite activity, they answer some questions about themselves, not super personal, but things like, what's something you believe that no one else believes, no one else agrees with you on? And it could be as simple as, like, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl to, I think, whatever, crazy things. When do you feel most confident? What is your tennis ball? Think of yourself as, a dog chasing a tennis ball. What is that thing that you are always going to chase? What is your personal mantra that you always tell yourself? They take those questions and then they ask somebody else. Here's our first example of collaboration. They ask somebody else who knows them well to answer those same questions. And that's so eye-opening for them that they learn what other people think about them. Like, what do other people think is the thing that I'm always chasing or the thing that I'm really proud of? Or that, helps people. So that first activity, we do it in capstone, we do it in PIP, just like start thinking about who you are. Then they move to a brainstorming activity, they pick their project and they write their proposal. The proposal I always talk about as a huge, it's a big hurdle to get over, and it's a great place where for teachers and students to have a lot of conversation around their project. This is where you're checking for that learning stretch. You're checking for feasibility. So we have kids that sometimes want to create projects that are super huge and they're really ambitious, and we love the ambition of our students. But then we also have to say, you got 6 weeks. I don't know that you're going to create a whole app in 6 weeks, but maybe you'll wireframe it. Or, you know, you have a semester. You might not be able to rebuild an entire car, but maybe you could rebuild the engine or work on the engine. So things like that. Or sometimes those projects are really small and they say, I'm going to, you know, knit one hat. And you're like, 6 weeks, you could probably knit more than one hat. Maybe our goal should be 20 baby hats to donate to the local hospital, or the project, you know, might be too small. So that scope is really where this comes in, and feasibility. During the next phase, they are creating their project. This is obviously the longest phase. I often talk about, you know, if you're a teacher thinking about classroom management, the kids kind of move together still in phase one. They do the discovery and the brainstorming, and they mostly get to the project proposal at the same time. But after that, it is like 20 kids, 20 directions. This is where they start gathering information in that investigate phase. So some kids may be talking to other adults, some are on the internet, some are listening or reading to books, some are doing all different things. So they start investigating, you know, what else do they need to know, and they make their time management plan. I always talk about this activity because it is the activity that the students hate the most. It is often rated as like their most hated activity. They find it really, really difficult. They get very anxious when their time management plan doesn't go as planned and they get behind. And I often say it's a Google Doc, not a PDF. You can change your time management plan as you go through. Adults do it all the time. I don't know if any of you procrastinate ever, but I'm a procrastinator, and, you know, things that I have a week to do, and I'm like, oh, I'll do, you know, 5 slides each day. It's then Thursday, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do those first 15 slides, so I guess I'm doing 20 today. But it's okay, right? As long as you can catch up. They do a pitch, so they share their project idea with their colleagues, with their peers, and throughout the process, they're blogging and writing about what they're doing. So during this time, now they're working, they're creating, and then they get to the final stage where they are creating a profile about their project. They are making a little movie about it. It's called a trailer. They give their final pitch, and then they do that final reflection, which is really, really important for them to think about what they've learned, right? If they just end the project and don't reflect on it, you've missed such a great learning opportunity. I'm not going to go through these slides really closely, but you'll be able to see them. We will share them. We did a crosswalk early on to make sure that we were hitting on critical skills. So we looked at kind of SEL skills. We looked at the ISTE technology skills because we knew that they were going to use a lot of those, the NGSS practices that kids are using, and ELA standards. And you can see that a lot of these standards go throughout, and you can also see in bold is kind of the key skill that they're practicing in these projects. So it's not just like go build a birdhouse. There's a lot of real academics that are happening here, and we wanted to be really careful that those things were coming through, and that they're building new skills. Like they may have never made a movie trailer, or they may you know, a lot of them are very afraid to speak to their peers, and that's only getting more and more true as kids are able to do more and more not face-to-face and behind a screen. So those pitches are really important, you know, those reflections. So I'm going to show you a little video because you don't need to hear my voice anymore. And this is a video of PIP in action. So these are the students that you're going to hear from are 5th graders, 8th graders, and high schoolers. And they're going to talk about what they learned in their projects and what they did and some tips. So you will actually see one of Kelly's students in there, and you'll just hear, and actually I think Kelly is in the video as well. You'll just get to hear some real firsthand perspective, and it's, you know, not from me. So let's watch.
impactful,
Intriguing.
Unique,
empowering,
Exciting.
creativity,
interesting,
educational,
Eclectic.
freedom.
independent.
I decided to make a website that would help others improve kind of by themselves if they weren't able to get therapy or they were kind of uncomfortable talking one-on-one with others.
I made a prototype of a horse barn.
I made a password like analyzer, and it would like check if your password was like too short or too long.
I've seen kids in my class who haven't been bringing in their snack, and I thought like I need to help them out because I thought of other kids in my school too. Building the thing because I like building stuff or like fixing stuff. So that was my goal for Pip, to build or fix something.
It's freeing. It's liberating. Not just for the kids, but for me as the teacher.
Getting feedback from my peers in Miss Schuhart, it was really fun to see what other people thought and things that they thought I could do better and things like that.
Thinking about what I wanted to do, just because like I think by doing like the initial like stuff to test like what I liked, what I didn't like, I was really able to tell like, oh, well, I didn't even know this about myself.
Personal interest project experience is a lot more enjoyable than a normal classroom environment, as it provides that creativity and it gives students an option to do what they want.
Giving me these like personal challenges that I'm able to choose my own direction really gained a lot of independence. And I feel myself, honestly, as a person, a lot more confident. I met all my lifelong friends, I want to say, in these classes, because I've never talked to so many people as I do now. And it really just like opened up and made this like new broadened thing that I feel is going to prepare me for college, honestly.
This is a lot more freeing up to you. Like a lot of the work you do, even though it is still graded, it feels more individual and like you're really assessing yourself.
I love the curiosity. I love that they get to just whatever they want to know. You know, I think it gives them a new. I had students who said they would miss school. They came just for Pip. They come in that day, because they want to do it.
Choose a project and try it with them and be willing to be vulnerable with them and go on your own learning journey with them and use your own work as exemplars or benchmarks or, hey, let's see how we can improve this, you know, as an opportunity for that kind of feedback.
Don't do something because your friend's doing it, do it because you want to do it, but also choose something that you're not too familiar with so you get to learn a bit as well.
Make sure you choose something that is going to be the right amount of work for you to start off with. Like really make sure that you are doing something you're really passionate about, that you won't mind working on out of school, that you enjoy, that your family can get involved in, and make sure that you work consistently, efficiently, and that you manage your time well.
Just have fun with it and take your time.
So these were not paid students. They just happened to say all of the right things. And, you know, we created this tips for Pips document, and, you know, we had our own tips that we were learning as we were implementing the project. And then, you know, when we went and interviewed these students, they hit all the things right on the head, and we were like, all right, so we're right, like we're getting this. But I want to talk now specifically about Montville High School, because they used this project in a pretty unique way. So if you remember the 2020-2021 school year, I know many people don't want to remember that year, but it was the year that many schools started out hybrid, where kids were coming in, you know, a few days a week, and then another group was coming in a few days a week. Students had the option to stay fully remote. And those students that stayed fully remote, some were very engaged, others were not. And so the principal and superintendent or assistant superintendent of Montville came to us and said, we have these students that really aren't engaging, and maybe we'll just give this PIP thing a shot and see what happens. If they have these opportunities to do something different, can we get these students who are on track to earn 0 credits right now the opportunity to earn some credit? So every student, they started in January. We started this process with Montville probably October or November, just talking about what the curriculum would look like and how it was actually going to roll out. So there was, I'm sure, a lot of planning time on the Montville side. But each student was given the opportunity to earn 1 STEM credit, 1 humanities credit, their mastery-based diploma assessment credit, and a half a credit for an elective. They designed 1 project that incorporated all of those components through consultation with their teachers. And it was a group of teachers that were really interested. I'm just going to give you a little bit of data, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to tell her story. So there were 13 students that were selected to participate. 7 of those students, so more than 50%, earned that maximum of 3.5 credits. 1 student earned 2.5 credits, 2 earned 1.5 credit, 1 student earned 1 credit. So only 2 students did not complete enough work to earn any credit. So remember, these were kids that were going to get nothing. Let's see, I'm going to let Kelly, why don't you talk a little bit about your experience with those students, how this all rolled out, and then I have a couple of projects in here if you want to talk about some of those.
Okay, great. I'll try to keep it kind of brief because you've done such a fabulous job, Liz. You've really covered almost everything I feel like I need to say. So I was one of those volunteer teachers that my principal spoke with if I recall, I first heard about it in January of 2021. And our main concern, as Liz said, was we had a handful of students who were not planning on returning to the classroom, even on our hybrid schedule. We were at a hybrid schedule at the time. And so we were brainstorming ideas of how we can best serve those students and not sort of just letting them fall through the cracks. So that first year when we did it as credit recovery, it was done 100% virtually. Okay. We Zoomed in with the students on the days that we had to, because we ran it a little bit differently than we're currently running it, I have to say. So we had, I think there were maybe 5 or 6 teachers on board. We had a science teacher, we had myself, we had some elective teachers, we had a nice kind of combination of people. And the students went throughout their day having to Zoom in with each of those teachers, right? And so if they were working specifically on trying to earn a STEM credit, then they would meet with their STEM teacher, their science teacher at a certain time. They also met with me, even if they were working specifically towards a STEM credit, because as the ELA person, I could help them with the editing and the fine tuning and that sort of thing. It was incredibly successful, I have to say. As the teachers, we were very surprised. We didn't expect that we were going to have that much buy-in because, again, most of the students at that point who were part of our program, honestly, prior to COVID, they weren't really engaged either, right? We can't even say that it was just the virus that put the nail in the coffin there. So we weren't really sure how it was going to go. By the end, we were sold. We saw the engagement in the kids. We saw the interest peak. I know personally, it reignited my own passion for what I do. It was just overall, it was incredibly positive. So much so that at the end of that year, I went to the principal and I said, are we going to be able to keep this? We need to keep this somehow. We need to open this up. We need to make this available to more than just our highly at-risk students, because there are plenty. I see plenty in my sort of college prep level 2 classes that just are kind of, they're just there. They're getting through the day. Nothing is really interesting them. They're just doing what they need to do. So I was really excited to kind of keep it flowing. It worked very, very well for the credit recovery. Some of those students, the project that you have on your screen right now, was done by a student who was a senior at the time. And this student was, from his freshman year, was a challenge. He was a challenge to administrators. He was a challenge to teachers. And we weren't really sure how the PIP project was gonna turn out either, I have to admit. And Liz, you mentioned earlier something, the time management piece can be sometimes a little overwhelming. This is one of those students who, despite the time management piece, kind of waited till the last minute, right? And he pulled it off. We were ultimately impressed with what he pulled off. I had no idea prior to PIP that this student was so interested and fascinated with cars and driving fast, right? Speed was his need. I had no idea until this PIP project came out. And what he did was he designed his own engine. He took the two fastest engines that are available on the market now. And theoretically, because he couldn't actually do it, but theoretically, he deconstructed them and combined them to create his own super fast engine. And he shared it there in the project. I don't know how much you want to show or not, but yeah, I don't have control of that. That's all you, Liz. Oh, here's another one. Okay, great. Thank you. This was another student who was a senior at the time in the spring of 2021. Very intelligent, very smart individual. Also very, very quiet, right? Even when she was in school, I had her in class before the pandemic hit for a year. Very, very soft-spoken, very, very meek, did not put herself out there much at all. PIP came around, she decided to stay fully remote, and she just embraced this project. She recreated the Lotus Temple to scale. So she has her math figurations in there, with how she figured out the size of the pieces that she was sculpting. Really just very, very impressive with what she finished. And I think, oh, you didn't put the other one in. There we go, there's the other. This is another one that I was personally touched by, because I remember speaking one-on-one with this student at the beginning of the process during the discover phase. And she had several interests, but she wasn't sure what she wanted to do specifically. And one of the things that I like about the PIP model is that it's a learn, solve, make, or do, right? So they can learn something. If there's a problem that they see or they are experiencing personally that they want to try to solve, that's an option. They can make something, or they can actually do something. It's like an activist type of option. Well, this particular student suffered from night terrors and sleep paralysis. And it was a problem for her that she was experiencing in her personal life. And it was weighing on her very much. In a private conversation, she opened up to me, and she was really honest and vulnerable about how this condition made her feel. And she didn't want to feel that way anymore. So through the conversation, I suggested that be her focus. Well, why don't you learn about it? What is it exactly? How does it work? Are there treatments? Are there strategies that you can learn to help ease your suffering? Would it just be helpful just to share and bring awareness to this issue, right? And that's essentially what she did. Was she did some research, and she got some factual information to share with her audience about what sleep paralysis and night terrors are. And then she created poems and short stories to describe her own experiences as a way to sort of process them and come to terms with them. And so it was really a project from the heart. And the growth that she exhibited from the beginning of this process until the end, phenomenal. I wish you could meet this girl so that you could see how much more confident she is now. When we finished that first semester with Pip and the hybrid learning ended, this particular student, she was a junior, I believe, or no, sophomore in this time when she did this particular project that you're looking at. Her junior year, she took Pip again and did a similar project, and again, just blew it out of the water. She is now, everybody knows her now in the building. Oh, and you know, oh yeah, right? So to see not just the academic intellectual growth that these projects offer our students, but the confidence in the knowing that they are learners and they can have agency and choice over their learning. For some of them, it really does just change their whole future, because now they know that they can do something without having the teacher sort of give them every single piece of information that they need to know, right?
Oh, Kelly, I just like get chills every time you speak about how these students change. And so now Montville does offer this as a half-a-year course, correct? For students to gain a half credit in humanities or STEM or an elective. Students have taken PIP more than once, right? Some students.
Yep.
Some of those students are the ones that took it, like our last student took it during that year one and are continuing to take it. Like Kelly said, this can be a fully remote option for students that are not attending school, that need another credit to recover outside of their academic day. So there's a lot of flexibility in it. And to demonstrate that flexibility, I'm going to turn it over to Matt so that he can launch the platform that we have. So I'm going to stop sharing. Matt, are you able to share your screen?
I don't think I've got rights yet, but if somebody can, oh, there we go. Perfect. Great. And right before we do that, Liz, I know we'll do Q&A in a second. There's a question for Kelly about how credit is awarded, and that's great. We can pick that up in just a little bit. Okay, I'll be real brief here, but again, thanks for the opportunity. And Kelly, same here. I mean, just, we've talked a lot about these students, and I learn something new every time we have a conversation. So thank you. So the Personal Interest Project lives on a platform and curriculum that Skills 21 has developed internally ourselves over many years. We've had versions of this when we were doing larger team-based projects, but as Liz shared, when the pandemic hit, we reconfigured a number of things so that essentially the curriculum would roll up automatically into a student project portfolio, and that was something that was shareable by the teacher. So you saw Liz describe the phases: discover, create, and share. So this is what it looks like for the students when they see it on their end. So there are 4 activities in each phase, and mechanically they work pretty much in a similar fashion. So if a student was doing the second ideation activity where they're brainstorming all the various things that they might want to work on in their project, there's a video that describes the task for them. There's a templated resource that has the activity that they can save into their Google Drive. And then there's a process that they just grab that from Google Drive and submit it. So they're able to create a custom image, write a reflection. In some cases, if there's a vision of the graduate or portrait of the graduate that we're dealing with, there's skill tagging. Like, so for Montville, they're able to identify those high leverage skills, and then they can submit that. And essentially what happens in the background is the students doing each one of those submissions, it's rolling up into a project portfolio. So if I click the little view project up here, this is a demo that we have, but you'll see the phases. There's discover, and there's that learn, solve, make, do activity that we were just looking at. So it's kind of a combination between a learning management system and a project portfolio all in one place, but with video of every step of the way so that students have support as they do that work. And then real quickly on the teacher side, there's just a quick dashboard for teachers to do a few different things. When they first log in, they're able to see all the activities, and they can assign due dates to them if they choose to. They can see their roster. In this case, it's 3 people in the office. That's the dream roster on the Skills 21 team. The office, the TV show, not our own personal office. And then there's a quick little data dashboard or a dashboard rather, that lets the teacher see by phase. So here's discover, create, and share, as well as the blog posts. They're able to see each one of the activities within that phase, and they can review that work. So if I see over here that Jordan Jones completed his personal discovery, I can see a kind of record of the conversation we may have had. I can see the students' work and the like. And then real quickly, I'll just share, because we've been working in a number of these really interesting settings, juvenile justice, Liz mentioned, alternative high schools. There are cases where we've needed to find ways for students to kind of keep the flow going as quickly as possible. So we've just been working on a new version of PIP that's a little bit shorter for very specific settings, transient populations, kids that we just know we don't have a trimester length time. And so that's really a single phase project where they go through some of the ideation and get to a proposal. They're able to do a lot of the blogging, which is where we pick up some of those skills in the other phases of the project, and then do the pieces that would land on their homepage. And we've made some revisions to how the technology actually works, just to make sure that there's as little friction as possible for students that, again, are in kind of marginal circumstances, expulsion programs, truancy programs, juvenile justice settings, alternative high schools, and the like. So that is a very speedy kind of version of what the PIP platform looks like. All right, Liz, do you want to jump to questions or anything I missed there that we wanted to hit?
No, I think we hit on a lot of different information. I know there was a question. Kelly, do you know how PIP is coded in your school information system, or how it's managed through PowerSchool?
I don't know. I honestly don't know from the sort of counseling side of it. I can obviously share what it looks like from the teacher side. Currently, this school year, we have 3 PIP classes operating in our school. I teach the humanities PIP, and we have 2 elective groups that are running right now with different teachers. In PowerSchool, it comes up as, we have it coded as, so this one is humanities PIP. The other ones are coded like PIP elective, right? So then it's just, we just set it up in our grade book, and then at the end of the semester, whatever credit they've earned just gets generated that way, right? So if the student needs, if they're short on, let's say, a humanities credit, and they want to take PIP, then we know that whatever their project is, I'm going to make sure that it's sort of has a humanities focus to it. And then at the end of the semester, that grade will go towards their humanities requirement. As far as the technical way that PowerSchool, you have to set up all of that, I honestly am not sure. But I am happy to send that question to our counseling director, and maybe she can get back to anybody who has that same question.
That's great. Thanks. And I saw Sue Ferguson's with us, and thanks, Sue, for your comment too on summer school. Yeah, we've had a really good time doing PIP in these shorter cycles in the Torrington Summer School program. Sue, I don't know, do you guys code that into PowerSchool for credit recovery? Or I don't mean to put you on the spot, but.
I don't know that, Matt, but I would imagine, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think the way we've done it over the summer is it just becomes a pass fail. So I think it's just coded in here internally. Yeah.
Yeah, makes good sense. One other thing I'll just mention real quickly. I mean, this is just a current fascination of the skills team for the last, week or so. I don't know if folks have had a chance to play with ChatGPT, which is a new artificial intelligence tool. If you haven't, it's worth Googling and taking a look at it. It's got some really compelling and interesting and scary implications for teaching and learning. Not to raise the stakes here at 10:53. But one of the big takeaways for us is that tools like this will put more of an emphasis on the opportunity for students to learn, practice, and master high leverage skills through a range of different project-based learning modalities, and kids doing the stuff, applying the skills, creating the things, collaborating with individuals. Because part of what you'll notice if you play around with this tool, this ChatGPT, is that a lot of the inputs and outputs that we measure, right, an essay, respond to this assignment, respond to this task. It's interesting to the degree to which the artificial intelligence is able to generate some of those pieces. So just a bit of food for thought.
Amanda, I see you have your hand raised. Amanda Pickett, if you want to.
Thank you so much. I am really excited about this presentation, your innovation and creativity to truly meet student needs and encourage them to complete high school and beyond, I think is truly noted. So thank you for your efforts. I do have a couple questions. And it's okay if you're like, I don't have the answer right now. One is, what does it take to lift a course like this? So when I think of the folks on this line, you know, staffing, budget, approvals, things like that, what does it take to actually lift a course?
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take a stab at that. It happens in a lot of different ways, so it depends on what's involved. So in Montville's case, right, they went from this really interesting experiment with credit recovery into the course of study. So that took all the things that putting something into the course of study would take, right? We see that less often, and it's great that Montville did it. It was trying to accomplish a specific goal. Capstone for us, we do a lot of work with the mastery-based diploma assessment graduation requirement through Capstone. That also has a lift that involves, you know, teacher assignment, course of study, FTE, and the like. Very often it's embedded specifically like within an existing course. We have one of our favorite implementations is at Woodbury Middle School. You saw a couple students from there. You know, it's embedded in a tech STEM X block class. So there's not a significant lift there. The teacher training component is relatively quick. I mean, hopefully you saw on the platform, the curriculum is well scaffolded. The technology is relatively easy to use. It doesn't tend to be a big lift on that side. And then budget, a range of different, you know, kind of variables. It depends on what the implementation looks like. As a crude number, you know, we usually allocate somewhere between $15 to $25 a student for something like these personal interest projects during the year. And then there are schools that do, like Montville, customizations of the curriculum. We host it specifically for them so they can do skill tagging. So that brings the price points up a little bit. But, you know, keep in mind, we're EdAdvance, we're a regional service center. We've always tried to keep, you know, the budget piece of this achievable, accessible, and manageable.
Oh, thank you. And then I just wanted to share, I love the flexibility, it sounds like, of the course, that it can be embedded in an existing course. It could be offered as a tier 1 course like Kelly was describing, or even as an intervention of a summer school or for a targeted group of students. So I just wanted to say that I think that flexibility is another interesting aspect. And I would highlight those on the call to really think about what are the needs of your overall student population and what are your needs of your students who are chronically absent or you're worried about their attendance, and then thinking about maybe how you plan this. I love how it started with an intervention and then went bigger. So thinking about what that design could look like for your schools. Thank you. You will probably hear from me. This is exciting. Thanks.
If I could just, Amanda, speak to your question a little bit from the classroom teacher side, right? Because that was one of our things, is how are we going to get more staff members to teach these courses, right? If we're going to offer them as actual courses. I have to say, of the 5 classes that I am responsible for, PIP is the one that I least have to prepare for in terms of traditional teacher planning and preparation. The program is already built so well that it's really, what I find I have to bring to the room is my enthusiasm and maybe a little bit of how do I put this? You know, I have to encourage them, make sure we're staying focused, make sure we're on task, right? Which is nothing that I don't normally do in any of my other classes either. It's really not, if I could say this, a huge lift for the teacher, I have to say. It's really more exciting and interesting. The only thing I would say, and I said this to my fellow colleagues when we were looking for other teachers to do this, whoever does it needs to be okay with giving up some of that classroom control, some of that traditional control of what my students are here to learn and what I am here to teach them, because that's not what PIP is. And so if you are able to kind of just get into the flow of learning and let things happen naturally and trust the process, it is so easy and rewarding at the same time. 100% worth the investment, if I do say so myself. I'm so glad that Montville is continuing to do this, and I hope we do for many years.
Thanks, Kelly. We hope you do too. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everybody.
So
Really
much.
appreciate it. And thank you, Dr. Radday. Liz is really the champion of all this work. So, and as she said, her contact and my contact is in the slide deck that was shared.
I'll throw my email right in the bottom too.
Well, thank you all. This was really great. Thanks to Liz, to Matt, and to Kelly. And we absolutely will also send out a reminder with the PowerPoints, and that way you'll have the contact information embedded there with plus the links. So feel free to contact our presenters. And as I said, this is our last Talk Tuesday for the year 2022. Our next Talk Tuesday will be January 10th, 2023. It's hard to say that it has the year has escaped us so quickly, and we're into the new year. So these are our dates. We're confirming our next presenters, but we're looking at a focus of data. We're going to bring back, hopefully, DCF to come back one more time, along hopefully with Susan Laria from Stanford, to revisit that conversation, because we had a lot of questions and some other information to share. Also looking kind of to have more of a focus to give you all some background with 504, helping with that piece a little bit, and how that relates to chronic absenteeism. And also hopefully get LEAP in here as well to give you guys some great strategies with LEAP. So that's our focus as we're moving into the new year. And here is our information if you need to reach out to any of us at any time. And just one thing I wanted to add is Lauren Johns is really behind the registration piece and helping you guys really get access to this Talk Tuesday. So if there's any registration type questions, you could always CC me, that's fine, but they really go to Lauren as well. But I thank you guys for joining us today. Hope you have a great week, and happy holiday and happy new year at the same time.